What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV. Well, ever since this past Tuesday, I believe, I've been starting to pay attention to this situation with this missing Titanic submersible. I was calling it a submarine, but that's not the right term. And this apparatus was being used by paying customers, I believe, millionaires, as an underwater tour by the inventor of this submersible and this service. I guess the four other passengers were tourists per se, and they were touring the wreckage of the Titanic. Of course, the Titanic sunk back in 1912, some 111 years ago. So many, thousands, I guess, or at least 1,500, I forget the exact number, unfortunately were lost to a watery grave, in which many of them, their bodies are still, or at least what's left of their bodies, are trapped in the Titanic. So I guess these individuals were sightseeing underwater. Well, unfortunately, it appears that they have joined the Titanic in an even more gruesome fashion, as far as an underwater grave. And I have a lot of questions in my mind now about this whole situation. But let me just read from the article. I'll pin the article in the pinned comment in the comment section below. So, look, we all been knowing that this thing has been going on for several days now, and that the clock would run to zero this morning as far as oxygen available for those in the submersible. So time was running out, hope was beginning to fade. But then there was a update that showed a dramatic change in attitude toward what was going on. What was seen as a race against time to save the passengers then turned into an ominous discovery, and that was evidence of wreckage, or debris, I should say, not wreckage, debris. So one of the fears that had been echoed was that a vehicle submerged that long underwater may be subject to, if there was some type of internal mechanism going wrong with that type of pressure, imploding or exploding within, or what have you. And that's apparently what happened. Missing Titanic submersible live updates, all lives lost in catastrophic implosion. All passengers are believed to be lost after a desperate, days-long search for a submersible carrying 5 people that vanished while on a tour of the Titanic wreckage off the coast of Newfoundland, Canada. The 21-foot deep sea vessel, operated by Ocean Gate Expeditions, lost contact about an hour and 45 minutes after submerging on Sunday morning with a 96-hour oxygen supply. That amount of breathable air was forecast to run out on Thursday morning, according to the United States Coast Guard, which is coordinating the multinational search and rescue efforts. President Richard Garriott de Cajo, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, noted that 2 of the passengers lost in the implosion, Hamish Harding and Paul-Henri Nargeolet, were members of the Explorers Club, while Ocean Gate CEO Stockton Rush was a friend of the society who had conducted lectures at its headquarters. I noticed some people, say things like, who cares? These are a bunch of rich millionaires. We got more important things. I mean, look, man, I get it. The media oftentimes, almost all the time, really put more importance on people who are of means, and other times they put more importance on people for other reasons that they will not admit. And it's unfair, and it angers some of us. But at the same time, that doesn't lessen the blow for the family members that have to deal with this tragedy, this reality. Whatever hopes that they had going into the wee hours of today, now the realization comes in that these people were lost long ago. These people were lost the minute they lost contact because the vehicle imploded. A horrible, horrible way to leave this earth. Horrible. And at the same time, as horrible as this was, I can't help but get mad at the process. And what I mean by the process is, you can't shortchange safety. And when you keep shortchanging safety measures in exchange for expediency or cost-cutting measures or what have you, whether it's the equipment that you're using, cost-cutting measures, or whether it's experienced people who know the ins and outs of these things to drastically reduce the likelihood of these types of events occurring. Who cares if they're 47 and 54 and 60 years of age? You don't want to pay them because you rather pay second fiddle money to a bunch of college kids. These types of things add to the general somewhat semi-incompetence. Don't want to use that term too liberally, but still, this leads to these types of things occurring. I'm reminded of the Challenger explosion. When that happened, I think it was January the 28th, 1986. I was just 5 years old at the time. I remember it because I remember seeing it in class and being confused as to what happened. And I remember seeing my teachers crying. I knew something terrible had happened, but I just couldn't compute what was going on. Not to the extent that I would now. But that could have been avoided had they listened to the warnings of individuals of the individual, I believe it was, who said something was wrong with the cooler rings of the space shuttle, and that it would not survive for more than a few seconds after the launch, which happened. There were warnings about the Columbia that exploded back in 2003, I think it was. We have these people. There were people that warned about the safety of this. And why would you go down in the water 13,000 feet with no ability to communicate, really, using the equivalency of a PlayStation controller to control the apparatus? I just thought it was, the more I read about it, the more ridiculous it came across to me. I'm not blaming the people who perished, but the process itself just seems so stupid. So stupid. We're supposed to have all this technology, all this incredible technology, and they couldn't come up with a scheme better than this. It seems like our technology sometimes is moving backwards. Like, have you noticed, for instance, our refrigerators don't last as long as they used to? Like, we used to have refrigerators that could last 20, 30 years. Now refrigerators, now you have to replace them every 4 to 5 years. Same thing with microwaves. But I think that's by design. That's by design. They could build a microwave or a refrigerator that could last for a lifetime. But why do that? Because they want more. They want you to spend your consumer dollars. They want to build these contraptions that have these added features. They look pretty, but they're not built to last. Because they want more and more of our dollars. That's just my feeling on it, at least. But rest in peace to those who lost their lives in this needless tragedy that didn't have to occur. It just angers me in so many different ways, man. It's just ridiculous. And I also want to say, before I end this video, rest in peace to those who lost their lives in that migrant boat. I think it was a boat that sunk earlier this year. The media didn't pay that any attention because of the fact that a lot of those individuals, I think, were Pakistani, people of a different hue and a different tax bracket, far different tax bracket. And when these things happen, people don't care about that. So I wanted to give those individuals who lost their lives, and the families, definitely, my heartfelt condolences.